Hey everybody, Grant Miller here, Miami Community Newspapers. It's a great day. We got
It is a
Howard.
great day.
It's a great day.
It is a great day.
Howard Levine from Amerant Mortgage.
Well done.
Yeah, I got
you
that?
It. You did it.
You know, I'm from Miami. I get all confused.
No, you did it. You
Okay,
know that.
so let's talk about you before we start about banking and the mortgage business. Where were you born?
I was born in the Bronx. I moved to Florida in the early 70s with my family, and we've been in Broward County since 74.
Okay, so you went to college, high school.
High school here, and college
high
in New
school?
York, South Plantation, home of the Paladins. So they'll be happy.
Oh, the what?
The Paladins. They're knights.
I got you. And then you went to college where?
I went to college at Hofstra on Long Island, New York, and then came back to Florida to get in the real estate and finance business.
And then when did you get married?
Well, actually, yesterday was my 24th wedding anniversary.
Wow!
Yes,
Congratulations.
Yes. So
how many children?
I have 3 children. One in law school, one at
where in law school?
Nova Southeastern Law School.
Okay.
One is at UCF, who's a sophomore, and
state school. That's good.
Yeah. Well, he and my other one went to UF, so 2 state school kids. And my daughter is just started high school at University School in Davie.
University School is a really good school. I understand.
It is. It's very good.
So, how did you get into the banking industry?
I got into banking through, I was always in the real estate and finance business. And after the crisis, I had my own mortgage company before the crisis. And then after the crisis, I started working with the banks, started consulting for banks first, and then got hired by one of my last consulting jobs and have been in the business steady since 2008, leading mortgage teams, leading private banking teams. So I did that for City National Bank and for Salvador Bank before we joined Amerant.
City National was locally owned at the time, right?
No, actually, just recently. I left City National at the end of 2020 when they were owned by BCI out of Chile.
Right. Before that?
Before that, they were owned by a bank from Spain called Caja Madrid. And before that, it was owned by the Abbas family.
Right.
Years ago.
That's the only I remember them.
Yeah, the Abbas family founded the bank. The bank is 75 years old this year. So for most of its 75 years, it was in the Abbas family's hands. And I would say for the last 12 or 13 years, it's been with foreign bank ownership. The Abbas family sold to the Spaniards for about $1 billion.
The Spaniards.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your exact title?
My title is Chief Revenue Officer, Executive Vice President of the mortgage company, which essentially just means I have responsibility over all the sales and how we bring money into the business. So I get to go out and meet people and motivate my salespeople to go out and help close these loans. So it makes us some money.
How big is your bank? And how many branches they have? Where the headquarters, etc.
The bank is about just under $8 billion in total assets. We have
1 billion.
8 billion.
8 billion.
Yeah, publicly traded. And so, all of the financial information is public. When you're publicly traded, you can go out and do your research on the bank. We have 15 or so branches in Florida and another 7 in Houston, Texas. And the mortgage company, we started in 2020. We now have 60 employees in the mortgage company. And
separate from the...
It's a subsidiary. So the bank partnered with myself and my partners to build the mortgage company. We wanted to sort of have the flexibility to function as a mortgage company, but have the partnership with the bank behind us because they bring tremendous amount of financial stability, and also they bring their portfolio. So if we originate a loan when we can't find a home for it, we can put it in the bank's portfolio. So we have that.
A lot of people don't understand that. You deal with a mortgage company, they think they're financing it. No, they usually get somebody else to finance.
Correct. So most mortgage companies work with a warehouse bank where they borrow the money to fund your loan. And then they sell it, and then they make a little spread. So they'll do your loan for $200,000. They'll sell it for $203,000. They make $3,000, and they just keep rotating their dollars. So they borrow, they sell it, they give the money back to the bank that they borrowed it from, and then they start over again. But with us having Amerant as our partner, we use Amerant's money to fund our business instead of a third party.
Better.
It's better. It's cheaper for us.
And is it easier?
It's easier just because we're connected, and so ideologically we sort of feel the same way about how we want to finance certain asset classes. Sometimes when you have a warehouse bank, they will say, like, let's say they're not local, and they'll say, I don't like condos on the water on Brickell. Well, because they're from Texas or they're from a different market and they don't know So
From
at least,
Idaho.
well, it could be from, we have an office in Idaho, but it could be. So they have the local connectivity to understand how to really be a good partner with us. So we're very happy with them as our partner.
Yeah, I don't care how smart people are. When they talk mortgages, they're like lost.
It is funny. People get very nervous and anxious, and because for many people, this is the largest financial transaction they do in their lives. And we start asking questions, and they get very nervous. And I'm talking about even attorneys and doctors, and because it's a very specific industry with a lot of jargon. And I think the jargon is designed to make people a little nervous. I think it's designed to make people.
I think you mortgage people have a secret handshake.
They do, and you know quickly when you meet someone who's in the business because they speak your language, and you can commiserate with them easily.
So I'm buying a house. Is it better 15-year, 30-year, or is it better to go 30-year and just make more payments?
Well, so today the differential between 15 and 30-year rates are not that. If it was me, I would advise you to take the 30, and then if you're feeling squirrely, I would overpay each month, which will shorten the overall amortization of your loan.
So do you make an extra payment a year, or do you pay, or you pay if your mortgage is $2,000, you pay an extra $500? What's better?
You can do that, but in a regular 30, it won't change your payment. Like, for example, if you start overpaying, it's not gonna your payment is fixed in a regular 30-year loan, unless you make a really substantial down payment. For example, if you have a $1 million loan and you're a personal injury lawyer, you settle a case and you got $500,000 and you want to pay down that mortgage, you can call your servicer and have what's called a reset, and it'll redo your payments based upon that new principal balance. But in general, if you overpay, your payments won't change.
Slow down. I don't understand. I'm already lost.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay, so I have a mortgage. My payment is $500,000. I have $500,000 left.
Right.
I win a case, or I sell a big ad, and I get $200,000.
200,000 is enough where you may want them to re-amortize your mortgage.
So just don't put a $200,000 payment. You should go back to your.
You should call your servicer, whoever you write your checks to each month, and say, hey, I want to make a substantial principal reduction. I'd like to amortize my loan and get a lower monthly payment as a result of that substantial pay down. Gotcha. They'll do it. Some places will even charge you a fee for it, actually, but some people are very happy to do it because it does lower the monthly payment.
Now, this bank that you work with, did they buy other branches, other companies?
Did the bank? No, the bank. I mean, it can. I mean,
no, has it? Has it always been this big?
It's been like this. I don't think that they haven't purchased anything, so the growth has been all organic up until this point. This was, this was the old Mercantile Bank that changed its name and went public. So it was relaunched a brand and went through the public offering process. So, but that's all. They haven't. I don't think we purchased anything. Not to my knowledge. My understanding is their growth has been all organic up until this point.
So the real estate now you do commercial or
all residential?
Just residential.
In my team. The bank does. The bank's a full service bank.
Right.
But the mortgage company, is just for residential mortgages.
You represent your team. Is it just Dade County, Dade, Broward?
No, so we're all over. I mean, right now our intent is to be throughout the entire U.S. So today we operate in like 17 states, and we're in the process of adding other states. Normally, when you work for a bank, a federally chartered bank like Amerant, you get what's called federal preemption, which means you can, as a federally chartered bank, do business all over the country. But because the bank only owns a portion of our company instead of 100%, we don't get the federal preemption. So we have to get licensed around in each of these states. So that's the reason why we have to, we get certain states recognize it, but others don't.
Right now, Dade County, the market is just hot.
On fire.
The average house in some of these cities, from the time they list it to the time it's closed, is less than a month. It used to be quicker. I mean, less. I mean, it'd take 3 or 4 months. Now it's like, bam. And what do you do if I don't have $1 million or $2 million available. Mine's dug in the ground a couple feet down. So I take it out. But let's say I need to buy a house for $2 million. Should I get, and you need $500,000 to close on, somebody look at, should you go get pre-approved? What does that mean?
I mean, look, the today, as you point out, it's frenzied buying. You have people that are, see people at a house on the market, and you've got people, showing up immediately the next morning. You've got multiple offers coming in oftentimes over the asking price. So when you are the seller and you have a cash contract in front of you, or a contract in front of you that has a mortgage contingency in it, or even just a mention of a mortgage, 9 times out of 10, the seller is going to go with the cash contract, because the perception is that that's going to be an easier transaction. So
Is it?
well, of course, because there's no one else. The bank is another party involved, right?
Right.
So when we get involved, we're going to ask more questions, and then oftentimes it's for the protection of the borrower. But we're going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to make sure the house appraises. We're going to make sure the house is decent, safe, and sanitary. We're going to make sure that the house, there's no code violations. All the stuff that a prudent.
Well, I never thought of that. You pay cash, the seller's going to say here, and you got to be sure that the roof's fine.
You got to do all your inspections, but the bank mandates a certain level of inspection in order for us to put our loan on it. A prudent buyer, even without a bank, should go through all those steps, but oftentimes they either not advised to do so or just don't feel like it's necessary. And then you get the other issue of the appraisal. Appraisals work almost looking backwards. So the appraisals, you go in for an appraisal, it's going to look at what are the last sales that happened in that market. So if you're going to become the new high watermark in your neighborhood, the appraisal is not going to support it. And that's another problem for a bank loan. Bank wants to see that the purchase is supported by an appraisal. And that's where people are getting stuck now. They're saying, well, I don't want to deal with a bank because the appraisal process is just going to, it's taking a really long time because there's so much just transactions in general going on. So the appraisers are all super busy.
Not just Dade County, Florida.
The whole country, really. I mean, like there's pockets that are hotter than others, but generally this pattern that we're describing is pretty much across all the areas where we do business, which is, principally here and in Texas and in Idaho. Crazy frenzied buying right now.
Idaho.
Yeah, we bought a company in Idaho. We wound up
What city?
In Boise.
That's the blue carpet field,
Yeah,
right?
so it's actually
that football field's blue. Okay.
Boise is one of the biggest, it's one of the hottest real estate markets in the country right now. We just got dumb luck because there was some licensing and some certifications that we wanted to get, so we bought a company that had them, and we wound up being in that market. It wasn't part of our business plan to be in Boise. We don't know anything about Boise, but through this acquisition, we wound up having an office there, and they're killing it there. I mean, they're doing a lot of business in Boise right now.
So how do I get pre-qualified?
So typically what'll happen is you'll reach out to your mortgage advisor. They will gather data on you. They're going to want to see your, recent pay stub. They're going to, some people don't like to pull credit because it comes in as an inquiry, and inquiries are sometimes considered negative information if you have too many inquiries. But we can put together a basic schematic of your income. Here's your income, here's your assets. And today the whole focus is on the borrower's ability to repay. After the mortgage crisis, after all the legislation came in to quote unquote protect borrowers, we now have to go through a very painstaking process to figure out, can you afford this mortgage? We don't think you can afford it. We have to prove you can afford it. We have to say, here's the person's income. We have verified it. Here's their assets. We have verified it. And some combination of income and assets will allow them to easily afford this loan. And then we have to look at your other debts, because it's not just your house, right? So maybe you have cars, student loans, whatever else that shows up. So we have to make sure that not only can you afford,
you're not upside down.
Well, yes, upside down, but there's a threshold. There's a number. 43% is the magic number of your total income versus debts. You can't, and if you're more than that, it's hard to get a loan today from, I want to call them like prime lenders. There's a lot of less reputable folks out there that'll lend you, but that 43% cutoff is what's called a qualified mortgage. And that means the lender can prove that the borrower can pay. And that's a better sort of bit more substantial.
So I'm going to go buy a house.
Yes, sir.
And I'm already pre-qualified. How long does it take? And then you're buying the same house. You're bidding on the same house.
Mm-hmm.
But the person says, oh, I'm pre-qualified. How long could it take me to close compared to somebody who had cash?
Well, a cash buyer technically can close, in a couple of days.
And if I'm pre-qualified, how long would it
take? If you're pre-qualified today, because of the appraisal process, the one process that we as the credit grantor do not control is the appraisal. So everyone else in the process works for the bank except for the appraiser. So we're oftentimes sitting around waiting for the appraisal to come in, and then there's always some drama when we get the appraisal. Because, for example, let's say our normal lending programs, we lend 80%. But when we say we lend 80%, we lend 80% of the lower of purchase price or appraised value. So let's say, for example, you go to contract on a house for $500,000, but the appraisal comes in at $450,000. We'll still do the deal, but we're going to give you 80% of $450,000. The house still cost you $500,000, so you just have to bring more cash Does that make
Well,
sense?
and it's interesting you say because I hear this all the time. I had a I the appraisal of the house is less than what the seller is. So I'm going to have to get a mortgage here, and then I have to give him separate money, something like that.
Not separate money. It's just when you come to the closing, when all the sources and uses of dollars. So there's always a certain amount of money coming from the borrower, and there's always a certain amount of money coming from the bank when there's financing involved. So essentially, what happens is there's just more money has to come from the borrower, more cash. But back in the day before this frenzy, if you did a deal and the appraisal came out in light, then you have a fight with the seller and say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I'm not overpaying for your house. To heck with you, because the market says your house is worth this." And there was in more normalized times, there's usually a very heated conversation, but there's usually a reduction in price as a result of
Not
that.
anymore.
Now they're like, "Heck with you, someone else. I got 10 other people that want to buy this house." So it's a very upside down market like that because the buyer has zero like standing in this market. We have employees like colleagues of ours at the bank that we would do anything to help because they work with us, and even with working at the bank, we can't get the seller to believe that we're going to be able to close in a way that makes sense for that seller. So they're constantly taking cash offers. It's very disturbing. And then what's going to happen is by the time the real estate market settles down, interest rates are going to creep back up.
Okay, that's a question. When is interest rates are great right now?
Great.
When do you think they're going to creep up? Do people I'll hear it all the time. The market's going to crash. The market's going to crash. Well, Miami doesn't really crash.
No.
I say
Miami has little blips.
Yeah, I call it Miami.
Right.
But it's really South Florida.
Right. But to your question, so most of the economists today think that the interest rates are going to start rising in the fourth quarter and steadily go up in 2022. So right now, the prevailing 30-year rate is, let's say, just under 3%, 2.875, 2.99 there around, which is a generational lows. 30-year money at under 3% is crazy. So now the economists are saying that maybe 3.25 by the end of the year would be the prevailing.
21.
Yeah, and then a slow, steady rise. And what that's going to do is totally kill the refinance market. So next year, they're looking at a very a precipitous decline in refinances. However, they're predicting a tremendous increase in purchase business. So they still think the real estate boom is going to continue, even though that rates are going to creep up. And what that's going to do is honestly create a bigger affordability gap. And so the lower income people, A, the prices are going up, and B, the financing is more expensive. It's going to create even a bigger gap for the low income borrowers, which we think is a big issue going into next year. So especially in Miami-Dade County, the lower end borrowers are going to get more and more disenfranchised, in my personal opinion. It's just there's A, no product, B, the interest rates are getting higher, and C, all the thing that's left is the more expensive real estate. So it's going to be a problem.
What kind of advice would you give somebody now about purchasing a home?
I would say if you can wait, because unless you absolutely have to buy, I think you're buying at the top of the market right now. But if you can either rent short term and see, or look or see if you can, get out of the real sort of hot market centers. For example, look more into the suburbs, see if there's mass transit that'll get you into sort of the hotter areas instead of actually having to live in these hot areas, because it's a challenging time.
Mortgages, are they going to be different with condos?
Yeah, so there's always a little bit of a stink on condos, like from the perspective of, well, I'm surprised actually after what happened in Sunny Isles that, the mortgage industry hasn't tightened its standards with older condos, because, we tend to be super reactionary. So we had that problem in that building there. So my thought was, and it hasn't happened, is that there would be what they call an overlay, meaning, they take the guidelines and they shrink them. So an overlay for condos over 40 years old that they would lend less than they would for a newer condo. So there's always been what we call loan to value. The loan to value on a condo has always been less. So for example, a standard residential purchase usually is 80% for a house, whereas for a condo, it's going to be 75 or 70. That's just how the banks mitigate that risk. They just lend less. They want more cash from the borrower in a condo deal than they do in a house deal.
Okay, so the interest rate's really low. So if you're going to buy a house and you don't have to pay cash, I mean, would it be better to give a less payment and a higher mortgage, or is it better to put more down?
So if so, this is gets into a
Because the
money
interest
this
rate's so cheap.
correct. So it gets into an arbitrage discussion. So the theory is if you can earn more than the cost to borrow, then you should borrow as much as possible. And I'll give you an example. So if you can borrow at 3% and your Charles Schwab broker says to you, I can put you in a conservative portfolio that should get you anywhere from 4 to 5%. So if your investments are earning you 4 to 5 and borrowing's costing you 3, you're positively leveraged. You want to borrow as much as you
you're only
can.
making 2% more.
Yeah, but it's free. So you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So the money's free. So at that point, because if you took your money out of your Charles Schwab portfolio and put it into the house, you're not making that money. So the argument is you can leave that money in there and borrow and still make money. So that's positive arbitrage.
Okay, that's always being discussed.
Yeah, I mean, wealthy people today, whether they need to borrow or not, realize it's a time to borrow because the interest rates are so low. So when we deal with the high-end borrowers, I deal with billionaire borrowers, and there was like, you start to tell these stories, and we're like, well, why is so-and-so borrowing? I'm like, my answer is because he's smart. He doesn't need it. Well, he doesn't need it, but he's maximizing, what he can do with his cash. So it's for a sophisticated borrower, it's cash management. For regular folks, it's all the money they have, so they don't have no choice but to borrow, right? So,
gotcha. Okay. So you've been in the mortgage business how long?
25 years.
And you get another 20, right? You go.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, it's the greatest business. Yeah.
And tell us why your mortgage company is outstanding.
Like everything else, it comes down to people. And I think that mortgages are largely a commodity, especially when you're under $500,000, because essentially everyone, no matter if you go into a money center bank, a mortgage broker, or a banker, they're all using the same underwriting criteria. It's the same. It's Fannie Mae's engine. It's called Desktop Underwriter, DU. So you walk into my office, I put your situation into the computer. Whatever that finding says, it's a yes or a no, will be the same yes or no you get at any of those places. But when you get into the situation, above that area, now you're typically in what's called a portfolio situation where the credit decision is not designed by Fannie Mae. We are making the credit decision. So I think what makes us different is that we try to find a way. So it's very easy to say no, but to listen to someone and offer some suggestions on how to position the loan, package the loan, how do we look at income? Sometimes we need to bring in what we call a non-occupant co-borrower, meaning mommy or daddy who doesn't live with junior, maybe wants to help on that loan. We're always going to try to find a way to a yes. And I think that's really the difference, that our people are designed to be more counselors. We teach them to start with their ears. The most important tool they have is their ears, just to listen and try to solve this problems for our borrowers.
Sounds like a marriage. You better listen.
Well, yeah.
Last, you gotta listen.
If you want it to last, you do have to listen. That is for sure.
All right, we're gonna test you right now. Can you put the names up there, Tommy?
Oh boy.
Okay. Ready? Oh, I can start with you. You're the easy one. Okay, you ready? Your wife's birthday, go.
November 29th.
Your kid's birthday, go.
My oldest, April 18th. My middle one, March 13th. My baby, January 25th.
Important question. Mother-in-law's.
My mother-in-law's birthday is February 12th.
Father-in-law.
October 15th.
Your parents.
My mother is a leap year baby, 2/29, and my dad is January 30.
Brothers and sisters.
My middle brother is September 27th. My youngest brother is June 2nd.
See, you're a number guy. Doesn't count.
But you can't fact check me anyway. I could have been completely made this
right,
up.
you can lie.
Right.
You're a mortgage guy. Your favorite taco restaurant?
Tacos. I like Rocco's Tacos in Fort Lauderdale.
Rocco Tacos. Wow.
Yeah.
Your favorite cowboy movie?
Blazing Saddles.
And your favorite cowboy?
Oh God, Hoss from Bonanza.
Wow, Tommy, we never heard that one, have we? No. Your favorite football team? Go.
Miami Dolphins. You kidding me?
Okay. You guys got a suite there?
I just see. Well, the bank does not, but I have seats. So.
Okay. Thanksgiving. Give me some words that you love about Thanksgiving. Go.
Stuffing. My mother-in-law makes a great stuffing.
Where does she live?
She lives in Weston, so
Oh, good.
I get to have her stuffing each
All
year.
right, anything else? What else you like about Thanksgiving?
I get to see most of our northern family, because of the climate here, comes here, so we get to see everybody comes to the house.
Good
so
family.
It's really nice.
Okay. Your favorite hot dog place?
So I like they're up in northern New York. They have these. They're called Hots. They're a company called Zweigels. So they have this. They have these little burgers, hot dog stands up there. So Zweigels Hots are the best in my opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna just tell you, the best hot dog place in Dade County,
All right,
and state of Florida,
I want to hear this.
is Arbetter's, Bird Road and 88.
Never tried it. I have to try it.
They sell 1,200 hot dogs a day.
Well, they're gonna get 1,201 today.
Okay, if you go there and you can order a Grant Miller hot dog, there's a dog named after me.
Oh, look at you.
So, but if you want to have great chili dog, Tommy, I cheated on you yesterday. I had 2.
Wow.
But great chili dogs.
I will try it.
Okay. Your favorite sushi restaurant?
I like Sushi Maki.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that say?
Oh, look at you.
Sushi Maki,
Yeah.
and he is a local guy. Went to
Yes.
Palmetto High School.
Yes.
Okay, your superhero.
Superhero. Superman.
Okay. When you go out to lunch in Coral Gables,
Mhm.
where do you eat fish?
Oh. Pascal's.
Is that a good restaurant, Tommy? You eating there?
No.
No.
It's good. Little place. Little
Your favorite animal?
horses.
Do you have horses where you live?
I have had horses. I do not at this point. But Davie is horse country. So
Favorite pizza place?
in by my house is a place called Steve's Pizza. Very, very good.
Good. Okay. Couple more questions. In Coral Gables, your favorite burger place?
Al Carbone on
Where's that?
on Coral Way.
Come on, man.
Thumbs down?
Really?
Clutch burger.
No. Have you ever eaten at Clutch Burger?
No.
Wait. Your office is you can spit there.
Listen, I mean, I
you-
told you I'm in Doral now.
Oh, no.
So
Okay, from your office
on
to Geralda,
uh-huh.
and you go to Clutch Burger. You ask your owner Steve.
Clutch Burger.
Clutch Burger.
Have you been to El Carbone before you guys are
Yes,
attacking?
yes.
Okay.
But Clutch Burger is this big.
Yeah.
Ranked the number one burger place. And when you go, you call me and I'll challenge you on a burger place.
Fine.
Okay. Now, this hat's not good for you.
That's all right.
Your best gift as a kid over the holidays.
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I really wanted a mongoose bike, and I got one, which was really.
How old were you? 18?
I was probably 9, but that was the bike I wanted, and I got it, and it was a big day for me.
Where do you eat chicken? Where's your favorite place to eat chicken?
Chicken, so boring.
Is your wife a good cook?
She is. So
She cooks a lot?
she does.
Wow.
Well, I have a daughter who has celiac, so she can't eat gluten. So my wife, it's more comfortable for them to know how everything is cooked. So she cooks
lucky
for
you.
most of them.
Okay, the magic of the mix. Why is your place the best to get a mortgage?
Again, people. We care. I think we in Miami, even to get a phone call back or an answer in an email it already puts you at the top of the list. So, but we take it obviously a big step further than that. And we truly try to listen and solve problems for these folks. At the end of the day, that's the secret sauce in my view.
The secret sauce of any business is people.
100%.
And where people live, you don't move to community. You move to community for certain reasons, but the biggest reason you move to a community is of the people.
100%.
So
we've been blessed and flattered by the people who have joined our company. So imagine we started our mortgage company at the end of December in the middle of the biggest mortgage boom in history. So we tried to say, hey, leave your very successful job over there and come over to this startup. But we got amazing people to come over because they liked the vision, they liked our sort of the culture that we were trying to create. Because a mortgage business can be really cutthroat, and we're committed to doing it a little bit better. And so my partners and I have really taken a long time to think about a company that we would want to work for, that has the values and the culture that we would want to come, that we would leave a good paying job to come work for. And we've gotten some great response to that. So we're pretty proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Grant Miller here with Howard. You need a mortgage? He's the
Call
man
Howard.
to be.
Right.
All right, everybody have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.